Hey there, welcome to Studio 5. We've got a great show for you today. A look at the new film, Ordinary Angels. Two members of the cast of The Chosen share their take on the new season. And we're sitting down with contemporary Christian group Cain. We want to begin with Ordinary Angels. It's the true story of faith and commitment as a hairdresser makes a decision to find help for a father who's lost his wife to illness, and he's now desperate to save his daughter who's suffering with a critical illness of her own. Hilary Swank plays the role of Sharon Stevens, the real-life hairdresser in this story.
I've owned 4 small businesses. I'm good at plenty of things. Taking no for an answer ain't one of them.
Daddy's in over his head.
You're asking us to reduce the family's medical bills due to hardship.
No, I'm asking you to erase them. All of them. Was that funny?
Kevin, Jesus Revolution saw incredible success. Why is this story the perfect film to produce following up that film?
Jesus Revolution, obviously a big success in theaters when it came out. So we thought, you know what, why not follow this up with a story that every man can relate to?
Hi, Sharon.
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to come by and give you this.
I just made dinner if you want to stay.
Would love to.
What are you doing? I met this woman. She's a mess.
Perfect. She'll fit right in.
Here we have Ordinary Angels, about these ordinary people, a hairdresser, a roofer, that come together and help a community, rally a community to be able to save a life of a little girl. And so for me, from a faith standpoint, it's like I have an opportunity after we see what the gospel is to be the hands and feet of Jesus and see these people just kind of rally together. It's just very inspiring to want to be able to help our fellow man, uplift the human spirit.
$400,000 plus in medical bills. All 3 credit cards maxed out. And your income's only $3,600 a month.
Yes, ma'am.
That's not good, Ed.
No, ma'am.
I'm gonna put together a press kit for corporate donations, that kind of thing. Smile.
John, what's the backstory to getting this story? How did you guys come to this?
My part of the story is Dave Matthews, the fantastic singer. I had a meeting with him when I was an executive at Warner Brothers. And then at the end of the meeting, he said, I really should tell you about something that I'm working on and a story that I'm really passionate about. And he told me the story that is Ordinary Angels. And I was just floored. I couldn't believe that it was true, all the details, how miraculous it was that Sharon Stevens took it upon herself and sort of was heroic in this incredible way. And, you know, he sent me the script and I read it and fell in love.
My name is Sharon, and I'm an alcoholic with a splitting headache.
What personally touched you most when it comes to the real-life characters you're portraying here in Ordinary Angels?
Sharon is this larger-than-life, get-it-done, driven type of person. She's just a beautiful spirit and a reminder of really what's important in life.
Something about that little girl without a mama, sick, and the family's bled dry from all the hospital bills. I think I'm supposed to help.
Where do you think this fight in her comes from?
I think her fight comes from her being able to empathize. I think she feels almost like dying herself. So she sees this little girl who's almost about to die, and she's like, in a way, she doesn't consciously realize that saving her life, she's saving her own. When you are at your darkest and you look out and you see someone in need, you work towards helping that person and you find your greatest purpose without even realizing it.
My advice, find a reason to be here that's bigger than you are.
Alan, your character Ed has just lost his wife and is on the verge of losing his daughter. Where does he find the strength to continue?
Sometimes, you know, we just need the motion of one foot in front of the other. Like it was just one step in front of the other every day, not really knowing how to get there, where to go, but you know, falling forward was the motivation that kind of came as he kept journeying on.
My belly hurts.
Oh, you want to go on an adventure? He's a lone wolf that doesn't know how to ask for help. And we are spitting images in that way. And, you know, thank God somebody like Sharon came into his life, you know, and it's a really good feeling when somebody comes along to help you.
Now we'll need to fly 700 miles to the Children's Hospital.
Are you telling me we need a plane now?
How exactly do you recommend we get a plane, Doc?
I'll get you a plane, I promise.
Hillary, would you say this is a miracle story?
If you want to define what a miracle is, I would say definitely all things coming together, a confluence of things coming together for a life to be saved. That's a pretty big miracle.
We are going to save this girl, you hear me?
We're gonna need a lot of shovels.
John, do you direct this film with a hope and a prayer when it comes to the audience, what you're hoping they take away?
I think this movie was such a beautiful example of putting faith in motion and getting it up on its feet. And I felt like what a powerful message to share with the world as a reminder that you don't have to be a superhero to change a life.
This is our last chance. If we don't take it, Michelle dies.
How did it become your responsibility to save her? Because I'm here. Because I can.
Ordinary Angels is in theaters nationwide February 23rd.
Still ahead on Studio 5.
Turn up that Jesus music.
We're sitting down with contemporary Christian artist Cain. This trio of singing siblings talk about their musical journey and their album, Jesus Music.
Jesus Music, it means to you what it means to us, and to us it literally meant what raised us. I think that's why we were so excited about it, is we got a chance to stand on this platform that God has built under our feet.
Welcome back to Studio 5. Cain is a trio of singing siblings. They're known for their contemporary Christian music, and we caught up with them at one of the stops on the 2024 Winter Jam Tour.
If you guys are ready, let's get started. Ready?
All right, we're going to listen to it together.
Okay.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Hey, you guys grew up singing together?
These two did.
Yeah.
We are siblings.
Gotta wonder, amazing grace.
We're all three. We have video of us on stage at like 8, 9, and 10.
Yeah,
trying to play instruments and worship with
that's it, really.
It would just be like, all right, me and Taylor, and then Logan, you're on the drums, and then one day we tried it, and it was okay. It sounds good.
Down in my soul, I got you.
Now, all three of your parents on tour, and kids come with.
Yes. That's not our kid that you just screamed.
Yes.
When we decided to give music to God, then it didn't feel right once we knew we were starting a family to be like, okay, kids, y'all hang back. We're going to go do our thing. And then especially when we have newborns.
This week on Chasing Cain.
So we're at bus call.
So let me share a little news.
Okay, good or bad?
Well, depends on how you look at it.
You guys are sharing your story in Chasing Cain?
Yes.
Chasing is exactly what our parenting style has become.
There's a sense of responsibility. I need to do well here. We have a decision to make. Time for us to believe in ourselves. We like captured a real fight on the show, and it was like, oh boy, this is like so real. But it's fun. If you watch it, you're gonna get to see everything, and like our individual personalities come out. I really like that.
Hey, if Jesus music changed your life, go on and turn up this song and say, thank you, Lord.
Latest project is called Jesus Music. Tell me about Jesus Music. What is Jesus? As if I don't know. What is
That's a part of why, when we sat down to talk about what would be the title of that album, we sort of said, well, let's call it Jesus Music because that's what it is. And I think that it fills me with so much joy to hear you say that, because to us it literally meant what raised us. I think that's why we're so excited about it, is we got a chance to stand on this platform that God has built under our feet, and we say we have no intention or desire to go anywhere else. We are so proud to make music that proclaims the name of Jesus, and we only do it because of the people that did it before us. And I think those two statements sum up who we are, and this was our first chance to tell one big story about who we are.
the single that's popular at the moment is called Anymore.
Yeah.
Tell me about that song. What's the story behind it?
So, you know, we've talked about our kids a lot, but this was the first songwrite we had since since having kids. And we were writing with Matthew West. He just was saying, like, write about your love for your kids because that is how God sees you. And I've heard that, but it's just, sometimes it's too good to be true. And I cannot believe that my daughter, like, when she's just reckless and given the attitude that I told you about earlier, there's still nothing she could do to try to earn more of my love. It's just, my love is like, it's yours. And so to really think that God sees us that way, it's just really fun. We get to sing it every night out here, and you can see, I hope you can just feel that it's connecting with people where they're looking into the sky like, okay, God is really singing this over me, and I think it's starting to set in.
What are the testimonies you're hearing about what that song has done? But be it,
there was a guy that came to meet us, and he was just talking about driving down the road. He's had a long battle with addiction. He was just saying that song hit him in the car of like a father's love for him, and so yeah.
I just feel very, very appreciative that we get to be a part of that.
Well, I think too, it's really been cool to see like the music that we write, it takes on another life and a testimony in us. I could ask constantly lots of questions and get feedback, but like, what is God telling us? And that's the message for everybody right now, I think.
Cain's newest album, as you heard, is called Jesus Music. It's available wherever you purchase your listening material, and there's still time right now to catch them on tour. We need to take a quick break, but before we do, it's time to share this week's story in pictures. Here's your Studio 5 snapshot for this week.
Something big is brewing.
The 8th will be sending up the largest air armada ever assembled in the history of mankind.
Straight into Hitler's territory.
Apple TV presents Masters of the Air, a mini-series following men in a bomber during World War II. Their mission? Battling German fighters. We have a Studio 5 exclusive sneak peek into this episode.
Robert Rosenthal.
Yes. How did you sleep last night?
Fine.
Can be a strange adjustment. Most men need a day or two.
Well, that's actually what I wanted to talk to you about. I don't think this environment is helpful for me. I'd like to return to base.
Why do you think your CO sent you here?
What did he say to you?
No, I'm curious. What do you think?
There was a mission in the Munster. It was rough, but I'm fine.
3 missions in your first 3 days. 120 men dead in one afternoon.
I wasn't one of them. I'm fine.
It's the 3rd time you've used that word, fine.
Still to come.
What wondrous love is this? Oh, my
Listen carefully to my words. Season 4 of The Chosen, now in theaters and on the small screen. We're sitting down with the actors portraying Jesus' disciples, Andrew and Matthew.
One of the biggest things that Matthew learns this season is forgiveness, but also just the value of continuing to just don't give up.
Welcome back to Studio 5. The 4th season of The Chosen continues to roll out on the big and small screens, and we've been sharing chats with cast members. This time, we're sitting down with the actors who play the roles of Jesus' 2 disciples. Paris Patel plays Matthew, and Noah James plays Andrew.
It's time.
What wondrous love is this? Oh, my
Listen carefully to my words.
Oh, my soul.
If you describe this 4th season, we're really now right in the middle. How would you describe what we're going to see?
There's a lot happening, some sweet, some sour. Just go all in and eat it all.
It honestly is it's a tumultuous at times roller coaster.
What wondrous love is this, oh my soul?
We know this story, we know where we're headed, but there is hope, and there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and so that is most represented, I think, in this season.
The Son of Man must suffer many things. But you are the Son of God.
Para, you play Matthew. What's the greatest lesson Para learns this season? What's the greatest lesson Matthew learns this season?
Well, in order for Paris to play Matthew, I just have to bring myself to the character. So I would say they're both intertwined. And one of the biggest things that Matthew learns this season is forgiveness, but also just the value of continuing to just don't give up. Just be the best person you can be, and don't let your past shame you.
Speaking of forgiveness, we see that forgiveness play out between your two characters. What was that like?
Yeah, that was really fun to embody, because to me, once Jesus calls Matthew, we see a lot of the disciples shocked, but we do see Andrew, and it was on the page there, have there was a little acceptance even in that moment of saying, well, if Jesus calls you onto the squad, like, what am I not going to buy in? But it's very difficult, because in Andrew's eyes, Matthew is one of the main reasons that I almost lost my livelihood, almost would become homeless. So it's a hard journey, but I think there's always a want to accept Matthew.
It's very different from his brother Simon, who has quite a different reaction. So that was a great moment to film, to see how forgiveness looks like, because it's not always clean. It can be sloppy. And so you see Simon Peter perceive it in one way and Matthew perceive it in another way, and to see them kind of come together at the end and find that has been great to see. And I've always told Noah that with his character, out of all the disciples, I felt like he was the only one that was willing to give him a bridge, like to see him properly. And it goes to what you were saying about how if Jesus says, like, this is someone to kind of value, then look at it in a different light.
And it's really hard to take that message sometimes, and I feel like we all know that in our lives. If someone you feel like has wronged you, can you really forgive to the point where you accept someone as a human being? It's really difficult. I know for me, Noah, that's a very difficult thing to do, so it's really lovely to see that play out on the screen.
That's why I think it's great the audience can watch this and kind of take what you can learn from it.
Absolutely. I love the humanity of it all. It's like, these people are real people.
I don't expect you to understand. I am the life that overcomes death.
I guess you're not holding back anymore.
I can't.
Describe for me, from both of your perspectives, what's the relationship between your character and Jesus like now? Because you've been chosen, you're with him. What's changed? What's it like?
Yeah, I'll say just quickly that, when in season 3, I go down to the, Herod's dungeon and see John the Baptist there, and he says to me, you have a new rabbi now, follow him. You're focused on the wrong thing right now. And I think we really see the growth in Andrew and the growing pains in trying to take that message to heart. Because part of his heart is down there in the dungeons, and he wants to help, but he can't, and he's been told, focus on Jesus.
And as Jesus' scribe, Matthew is very devoted to him, but what you'll see this season is just that personal relationship. There's a moment in one of the episodes, episode 2, that comes out in theaters, that Matthew just thanks Jesus for listening, and I think the audience will love that, because that's who Jesus was to many people, and that kind of bond and relationship is very strong and can mean a lot, and I think that can apply to all of us.
I dread what is to come. Story nearing its end.
Episodes of The Chosen are in theaters right now. Episodes 7 and 8 will make their run in theaters beginning February 29th. Hey, welcome back to Studio 5. As you know, music helps us to bring you this show each and every week. And this week's soundtrack comes from Lee Brice and For King and Country. Take a listen and you'll hear why Checking In is what's playing in my ear this week.
Wishing he'd pick up again. I got a lot checking in. Checking in. I'm just checking in. Checking in. Checking in. Hey there, son.
Well, all of us who've experienced loss can certainly relate to that one, checking in. On that musical note, we are just about out of time for this week's edition of Studio 5, so let's take a quick look and see what we have in store for you come next week.
It's a Studio 5 special report. With African American men now having one of the highest rates of attempted suicide in our country, we're turning an entertainment spotlight on black men and mental health. See the stories of survival from rapper Lecrae, former NFL player Dr. Jay Barnett, and singer and songwriter Anthony Evans.
The album's called Revive because I've taken steps in my life via therapy, which I had to go. I mean, after all this stuff, I was like, I'm about to lose it. Like it's too much. And we all have those points in life where it's just too much, you know? And I had to make a decision. Am I gonna allow this too much to take me down?
Hey, be sure and join us for that story and so much more come next week. As for this week, we've got time for just one more thing. Want to give that to the trio of singing siblings, Cain. You go back in time and speak to the younger you. What advice would you give yourself?
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Your best self is your most comfortable and authentic self, because you aren't going to be everybody's cup of tea. You just aren't. And by changing who you are to try to get that approval, even if you get it, it's for something you're not. I read a book once where they talked about you wear a mask to get love, and the love goes on the mask, and then when you go home and take the mask off, the love comes off as well. And so being able to just be comfortable in who you are, you know, you become all things to all people that you might win some. And I think that that's the thing is I'm telling myself now to be authentic. I certainly wish I would have back then.
Looking back, there were parts of touring, starting out in the beginning, that I was just I was so stressed about how I was going to get to the next place that those memories, I don't really have them as strongly as I thought I would. Looking back, because it shows I was way more focused on like, well, how are we going to make it through this time to get to a tour bus? Like all the little steps I can remember. So I would just say, like, just enjoy it, because you will get there if you believe in God and you work. You will get to whatever your next step is.
You will finish it. Yeah.
And then the other one is just like, maybe don't get a dog until you're done with touring.
It's a great one. It's a great one.
Why do you need a pet right now?
Hey, Taylor, Madison, and Logan, thank you so much for that. That is a great final word for this edition of Studio 5 and for this week's look at uplifting entertainment. Until next time, make time to uplift someone around you, and then please come on back. See where Studio 5 takes you next week. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching.